Assalamualaikum and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to day 2 of Digital Investment Week at the Malaysia Tech Month 2021. My name is Hasro and I will be your host for the day. It's my absolute pleasure to welcome all of you here this fine morning. I'd like to thank all for in attendance for taking your time off to join us today on this virtual platform, enabling us to connect even in these unpredictable times. For those of you who are just tuning in this week, let me bring you up to speed. The Malaysia Tech Month 2021, or MTM 21 for short, is launched by the Malaysia Digital Economic Corporation and that throughout the month of August as a mega virtual month-long curation of electrifying digital and technology keynotes, workshops, discussion panels, and business matching sessions. It will feature distinguished groups of local and international industry speakers and investors to share their expert thoughts and experiences in the 4IR driven digital economy. MTM 2021 will see exciting programs that will allow the spotlight to be shown upon digital ecosystem leaders and creators, leading edge economies as well as talents, enabling all stakeholders to discover new perspectives on domestic and global trends in artificial intelligence, drone tech, data analytics, fintech, and digital workforce. MCM 2021 kicked off their anchor event last week on the 29th and 30th of July, witnessing speakers from across the globe. If you have missed it, fret not, as you will be able to watch them right here on our virtual platform. Before we move on, allow me to convey some housekeeping guidelines. First, any questions from the audience may be submitted via the Q&A comment box. Secondly, meeting and chat rooms for attendees are available for your networking convenience. Without further ado, let me introduce the first panel session of the day entitled Blockchain, Major Applications that Will Move Malaysia Forward. Moderating this session is a familiar face to the Malaysia Tech Month, Jasmine Ng, co-founder, Endgame, and secretary, Access Blockchain of Malaysia. Over to you, Jasmine.
Thank you, Hazrul. Good morning to everybody. Thank you for joining us this morning. And as Hazrul has already alluded, we have a very exciting topic, especially given some of the headlines that you may have seen recently with regards to our country's position towards a technology that is rampantly sweeping across the world, making a lot of changes. So without further ado, allow me to introduce my fellow panelists. We have Mr. Simon Ulrich, who is the CEO of ReGov Technology. We have Mr. Harpreet Maan, who is my president of the Access Blockchain Association of Malaysia. And we have Mr. Ibrahim, who is the project director for Blockchain Village at Medini in Iskandar, Johor. Welcome, my fellow panelists. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Jasmine. Good to be here.
So glad that each of you can be here, and thank you for joining us this morning. I would like to pose the first question with regards to how has Malaysia progressed within the region, especially in Malaysia, on our attitude and what we think about blockchain technology. So maybe, Mr. Ibrahim, you could share with me a little bit with regards to the genesis, the starting of the blockchain village. What was the initial thinking that brought about the fruition of an entire blockchain village within Malaysia, which I think is quite awesome?
Thank you very much, Jasmine, and fellow panelists. Thank you for this opportunity to further promote and also share the knowledge that we have gained in the development of the blockchain village at Medini. Just a quick one. I'm part of Iskandar IRB Ventures. It is a subsidiary of IRB, which is majority owned by Khazanah Nasional Fahad. It is a company that representing the development of the ecosystem or the development of the city in Iskandar Putri. Under IRB, we have a strategic initiative called Iskandar Next. It is a private and public partnership program initiated by IRB and a group of companies in bringing new digital economy, new business and living experience into Iskandar Putri. And this is where Blockchain Village at Medini comes in. We are part of this program. It is Blockchain Village at Medini is a strategic project which was first founded way back in 2019 before blockchain became mainstream. We identified that we need to pivot our development in Iskandar Putri, which we started with the development of the GBS industry in 2016. It is actually a strategic, Blockchain Village in Medini is a strategic project to promote the development of the necessary ecosystem of a blockchain hub in Medini. Mind you, way back in 2019, this was the first initiative to put all blockchain initiative under the same roof. We had a lot of activities around the region, but we realized that there was no holistic approach towards making this work, you know, in the locations. So it was also aimed to capture at that point of time the growth of the global blockchain industry. And of course, we have a end goal in mind, which is to support the positioning of Medini as the digital hub of Johor. So that has been how we started this journey. And today we have about 5 companies residing in our location. And today from the 5 companies, we have secured up to 900 jobs. So we have companies who are poised towards developing this industry in Medini, and they have committed to creation of 900 jobs. And I'm glad to also note that things has been quite promising for us this year. Next month in September, we are going to announce another 2 new companies that will be coming to Medini and will be joining our so-called village in developing their blockchain related products.
That is really awesome to hear. I mean, and that kind of position is also very encouraging, I believe, for the rest of the blockchain community to know and to understand. So my next question is going to be directed to Mr. Simon Ulrich. Simon, would you like to share a little bit as to why is ReGov technology, headed by you, located in Malaysia?
Okay, yeah, sure. I mean, maybe first about what ReGov is doing. Yeah? So we are an enterprise blockchain API company. So I'm as much a user of blockchain as I'm a developer of it, because we use our solutions to mainly add value to financial services companies, asset managers, insurance companies, and so on. Now, why we are in Malaysia? I think there are a lot of reasons. But I think the 3 key reasons is, one, it's very personal. It's a great place to live. So I lived in 8 different and worked in 8 different countries. And here I'm now for the last 5 years, just because I love it. The other thing is, I think Malaysia has a really strong young talent pool. So if we look at the graduates that are coming out of university, I mean, yes, they still have a lot to learn, but they are hungry and they are eager, which is very, very, very important to me. So we just recently launched a blockchain graduate trainee program, where I'm trying now to educate 10 people every year, as new enterprise blockchain developers. So I think this is another benefit we have here. And then third, of course, as a businessman, I always also look at the balance between infrastructure available, a talent pool available, and cost. And I think also in the terms of cost, Malaysia is still in an attractive position if compared with some of the other hubs where ReGov could have potentially set up shop. It's of course not as cheap as Vietnam or India, but as said, it's not only about price, it's also what you're getting. So there's also this mixed component.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. Yes, thank you for agreeing that Malaysia is a great place to live in.
Love it, definitely. Malaysia for life.
Harpreet, a personal question and something that I'm not sure if you've shared a lot before, but I would like to know. What brought you into blockchain in the first place, and how far back did you go? As a president of the Blockchain Association of Malaysia, I would like to also understand a little bit about your perspective as to why you've gone into blockchain in such a big way.
Okay, I was not expecting that actually, but never mind, I'll just go ahead. Yeah, so how I got into the space was I was actually exploring quite a number of technologies, a bit of AI, a bit of big data right out of university. I was actually looking into multiple technologies to choose as a career path. And back then I was kind of fixated on the idea of AI being the future. So I was actually a bit more inclined towards multi-agent systems. And multi-agent system is like a bit more kind of like one of the subsets of AI, like it's quite technical to explain here, but today. But generally speaking, like I was quite intrigued by that whole section where you have multiple AIs talking to each other, coordinating, collaborating, communicating, and kind of like making your day-to-day life easy, right? So at the same time, I had a huge issue with AI. I just couldn't trust it, right? There's concept of rogue AIs. We were talking about selfish AIs, and all of those things started to emerge when I was actually exploring all this area or this industry or the particular technology, right? So I had a huge trust issue with that particular technology. So I was trying to see like, how can I mitigate that trust or that trust issue or the trust element in that technology? How will it look like in the next 10 years, 15 years when this thing is all around here, when everybody is like in their daily life using an AI bot, they are using, like a different sort of technology. What will be the kind of like the foundation layer that ensure my privacy, my ownership, my rights, my ownership, and all of those. And back then I couldn't find any solution in any of the existing technology, but I got intrigued with Bitcoin, right? Why people were really trusting in Bitcoin? Why were they really trusting in those ledgers? It's anonymous and all of those, all of those things around it was like, everything was like, all was like bad signs when I first saw it and I first heard about it. But when I actually started to explore more into Bitcoin and the whole technology element of Bitcoin, I noticed that, hey, no, this is something revolutionary. This is something that is needed. This is the thing. This is the part that was missing from the, like the next technology equation that was missing out. So that's why from there, I didn't look back, and I knew that blockchain is that area that I would want to cover. I would want to work into building technologies that can enable trust in the society, and at the same time building trust, digital trust in the next economy, right? When we talk about digital economy, you need to have digital trust. If you can't do that, you can't actually digitize a lot of those things, a lot of those trust industries, a lot of those industries are still dependent on a lot of physical checking, like a lot of auditing, a lot of paperwork, right? So I felt that that's it. This is like the area that is going to be highly impacting all of these industries, and somebody have to do those groundworks. And that's why I got into the whole crypto blockchain industry early on. And I've been in since quite early on. I was exploring 2015, 2016. Wow. I was doing a bit of mining. I did a bit of Bitcoin purchase, didn't really understood what was Bitcoin back then. Started to do Bitcoin Fox, became one of the early Solidity developers here in Malaysia while I was doing my master's in software engineering. And then I got the opportunity to work in a blockchain company. I was one of the earliest hire of the company. And then quickly I noticed that maybe I should do something of my own, because I had like some different visions that I wanted to achieve than just being a crypto developer. That's where I jumped out and formed Blockline. And from there, everything I think led on towards being the president of Access, because I'm kind of one of the outspoken guys in the industry who usually don't like to keep quiet about my opinions and my ideas. So it tends to, okay, maybe I will make more impact being a president of Access and maybe voicing out those, the opinions on platforms such as this, right? So that's my story, Jasmine.
Awesome. Awesome story that, that you chose blockchain above AI. And I think that in itself speaks for the trust machine, right? As what Scott said. Ibrahim, if you don't mind, just sharing with me with regards to the latest government policies that has come through, with the DIF5 and our new roadmaps, the digital economy roadmaps that has been, how has these new initiatives from our government impacted the blockchain village to start? Second, will impact the blockchain village?
Sorry, I muted myself. Okay, Jasmine, taking cue from your question earlier. So I believe the future for blockchain under the new policy that has been released is very bright. As you know, all this policy is recognizing the importance of emerging technology. Yeah. And you talk about National 4IR policy, you talk about P5, you also talk about the, what do you call that, the digital Malaysia policy. If you read through all these three different policies, you notice the blockchain's words are everywhere in the document. Yeah? And we as an industry supporter, practitioner, or enablers like Ibrahim, we are very happy to see this happening on the ground. We have been shouting to the government, we've been talking to them, we've been trying very hard to position blockchain, because to begin with, blockchain has a very negative connotation to its name. Blockchain was seen as purely crypto. Blockchain was seen as Bitcoin. Where else we say that that is only a part of blockchain we're talking about. There's bigger opportunities out there for blockchain. And as an industry, I realized that, you know, being Malaysian, we just do it. You know, we really live up to that tagline, which is do it. So we went ahead, we soldier on, and we prove that blockchain is more than Bitcoin. And we are happy that, you know, the regulators, the government agencies are now on board, are now taking blockchain seriously as one of the key enabling technologies, especially to move our country into this digital economy space. So on our side, BVM, we started off with the local government. So we started promoting this idea with the state, what they call it, authority. And they realized that this is something new. This is something unique. And that's how we wanted to do it in the first place. We wanted something unique for Johor. We wanted something unique for Medini. We wanted to be able to position Medini as a hub for blockchain. And that's part of the reason why we chose blockchain, because we realized that there is something that would put us on the same level playing field to other so-called location like Cyberjaya, like, you know, Penang, when it comes to the development of the technology space. So having said that, Blockchain Village is not just for Johor. It is an initiative that we want to build and share with the rest of the nation. So if ever anybody wants to create another kampong, another village in other parts of Malaysia, please, you know, we are more than happy to work with them. In fact, I'm very close, I have a close working relationship with Access, especially Harpreet. And together, we are trying to build this industry, and we are actually trying to see how we can work as a team to build blockchain for Malaysia. So that's my answer to your question. Yes.
The new policy will be a very positive thing, obviously.
Yes. Yeah.
Simon, I'd like to just ask you, you know, having a blockchain company in Malaysia, how has it been like in terms of building? Because you practically, I mean, the team practically started it here and has been building it up. What is the experience like in terms of government support, resources, talent, and all the infrastructure required building it, because you're not building it out of Iskandar, you're building it out in the rest of Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, sorry. Do share.
Okay, so you asked about talent, so let me start there. As mentioned, yeah, so we were quite successful in bringing in new fresh talent. It depends on the skill set though. So one challenge we faced, and I think every IT company, not only blockchain that starts in Malaysia, faces, certain skill sets are abundantly available, others are not available at all. I mean, try to hire an enterprise blockchain developer who knows Fabric, I dare you. You will hire a foreigner, most likely, right? Because the skill set is just not here. You know? This is nothing bad about Malaysia. This is just the reality that the adult population here is about, what, 22 million. So there can just be so many engineers in the country, right, by logic. So one thing where we were struggling a bit is when we wanted to hire foreign talent. So I think there's an opportunity to make that process much more smooth, because it would help businesses like us, plus it also helps the nation. I mean, there was a European study that every software engineer creates another 12 jobs downstream for non-engineers. Considering that less than 5% of the global populace has the intellectual facilities to become an engineer, you should import as many of them as you human possibly can. So if I could give an advice to the Malaysian public, I would make that easier. So you will have more of these people coming here and creating prosperity for everyone. Now, having that said, I think we benefited quite a bit from the startup ecosystem here in Malaysia. So I think there's good support from MDEC as a facilitator. I think this is done really well. Crowdfunding platforms like Pitchin have been really instrumental for us to raise funding early on. And I think they largely also succeed because they're well supported by the public sector, like MyCIF, for example, which is one fund that helps companies that are raising via equity crowdfunding. I think especially for tech businesses, I mean, that's amazing. Because in your early days, you're weak, right? Nobody wants to support you because very few people can see the vision before it has been built, but building it is very expensive. So having this early support in the ecosystem was very, very instrumental. And there, I said, is a shout out to MDEC and everyone else being involved in that. I think they do really, really well when it comes to facilitating, bringing people together. Yeah, I think that's something they can be really proud of. And I think that runs very, very, very well. You know. The third thing maybe to consider, and this is more general advice, to succeed our strategies very strongly. We built in Malaysia, but we built for the world. Right. So the Malaysian market only has a certain size. Right. And it's, of course, we want to be strong here as well, but we also reckon that without acquiring customers in the US, in Australia, where we are at the moment, and in the future, hopefully in Europe as well, it's difficult to grow to the scale and level of prosperity for my team where I want to be.
So, Harpreet, and then after Harpreet replies, I would invite all my panelists to also jump in on this question. So while at the policy level, our government is seeing a way forward, but in recent news on an enforcement level, there has been some incongruence, can I say? One of them in this year is the destroying of mining machines. And I know that has created a bit of a furor in the blockchain community. Would you like to touch a little bit about this?
Sure. Yeah, I did give a comment about this previously as well, that, I mean, Malaysia is like among the top 10 miners, like mining pools in the world right now, right? So Malaysia are doing really well in the mining industry, especially, and even in terms of mining maintenance, services, hosting, Malaysia actually have multiple businesses that are actually growing up. And I think even our electric and electronic industry also can actually benefit from them. Some of the parts that actually been exported out to China are assembled into mining machines and resold in Malaysia, right? So some of the parts that go out from Penang ends up in, like a company in Guangdong, like builds into a mining machine, come back and mine again here back in Malaysia, which is actually in a way, kind of supporting some of those industries here in Malaysia as well. And if, let's say tomorrow, if mining shut down over there, a portion of the business of this, what they call electronic companies as well, will face some blow to it. So a lot of them are dependent on ASIC computing chips and ASIC computing processing units, right? So in this case, because of course we condone, as not only personally and also from the point of view of the association, we do not support illegal mining activities here in Malaysia. We definitely do not have a stand that we would want to support there in any way. And a lot of the stance that has been taken by the authorities is actually to curb down on illegal mining. There are actually illegal minings as well that are going out, but a lot of them are not being disturbed because they have paid their bills according, and they didn't do any meter tampering. They are not, doing any hot wiring around, their meters and stuff like that, right? So a lot of them are not being disturbed and they're actually operating. But I think the other side, there's another issue, right? The only press we get out there is negative press, right? And there's no clear stand, there's no clear regulation, there's no clear policy towards the mining industry on how can we regulate this, right? So there was a call of at least one to recognize that this is a growing industry here in Malaysia. A lot of Malaysians, households, bread and butter is actually being funded by this particular business activity, and also come up with some set of guidelines. It's not like we are not asking for hard-line regulation, nobody will accept that as well, but some sort of guidelines and some sort of industry practices, especially from Suruhan Jaya Tenaga, who regulates these activities. It doesn't fall under SE, it falls more towards energy regulation body, right? To come up with some sort of guidelines and say, okay, this, how do we regulate and how do we ensure that we incentivize all the people who are doing mining legally? How can we support the industry that is actually bringing value-add services and bringing profit to the, the Malaysian companies? And at the same time, how do we actually, in a way, try to curb the illegal activities that happen? Because right now, it's just out of the blue, we just go and find wherever there's an electrical spike and bills are not being met, and just go and hunt them down and hunt down the mining machines, then show a force of display by destroying mining machine that we're going to come for you next, right? I think that doesn't work, right? A lot of people in the mining space, they know what they're doing. If they're doing it illegally, they're going to buy more, right? They're going to buy more whenever all the legal people exit, and they're going to keep on doing it illegally anyway, right? I think if we want to do something about the industry, if we want to support the industry, first we have to recognize the industry, come up with proper guidelines, and then basically from there, I think there's going to be a kind of a spillover effects that is going to support to all the other supporting industry towards mining, crypto, and blockchain as well that will come in. I think that have to happen. Yeah, that's my take on it.
Awesome. And I personally agree with you because it is important. So Ibrahim, there was a question that came through. Mining in the blockchain village, how is that perceived? Because they say it's better to mine in colder climates. Obviously, it's not true because we are top 10.
But at the moment,
yeah.
Sorry. It is. I share the same view as Harpreet. I think there's a lack of awareness about mining and how is it important to the whole industry. It is seen as something sinful, right? Because a lot of bad publicity out there saying that people are taking advantage of Malaysia as an illegal mining location. As far as BVAM is concerned, I think we do not have any companies who are doing mining in our location at the moment, to be honest. But we do like to explore any companies who are interested and to do it properly. I think we want to, obviously, if you want to do this, like what Harpreet said, in order to develop an industry standard, prescriptive guideline on legal mining, I think we need to engage the, what they call that, the regulators, what they call that, Suruhan Jaya Tenaga, the energy board committee, yeah. And I think the best way to do this is to probably work with potential miners and bring them to all these regulators and work on a holistic approach to develop those criteria or guidelines. I think that's the best way, because if not, some of these miners, they don't know who to go to. They may want to do it, but because of pressure of the industry, they need to do it fast, right? So probably they took their own road, they devised their own plans. But I think it is an opportunity for us to welcome them. Let's go together as a team and talk to all these various parties and use that as a case study to actually promote Malaysia on the right path. We have a good track record, like Harpreet said, one of the top mining locations in the world. Why don't we leverage on that and make it official, right? And then there's no reason why people do not want to do it legally. You know, if they can leverage on all this probably incentive that we can develop along the on the side, you know, for the miners. And with that, we also can attract other type of blockchain or crypto type activities. Once we have capitalized on that strength, I think as a country, you know, we can do more, not just, you know, attract miners, but more companies. So to me, we welcome if anybody wants to do this with us. You know, we know there are some miners in Johor, and I think they fall under that category of illegal mining, and they got some of the publicity. But I think as industry players, as the advocates of this industry, I think this is something that we need to address. And this is an opportunity for us actually to actually, I mean, we started with crypto before, now it's the miners, so it's not something new to us. And we can repeat the same formula that we did for crypto and even blockchain. So to me, I'm looking forward to work with the rest of the team here and see how we can actually make this more legal for the miners. All right.
Thank you. Simon, any comments on this?
Yeah, so maybe I give the perspective of an international investor. So let's take the assumption Malaysia wants to attract more mining businesses and more investment. So if I make an investment decision, as a mining company, I will look at two things. One, is electricity cheap? Okay, ticked. Electricity in Malaysia is cheap. So this is there. Second, how much risking am I going to take from a regulatory perspective? So I think, Ibrahim, what you just said is 100% spot on. Yeah? So if you give me crystal clear regulation that is not ambiguous, so where I'm not reading things like fit and proper, and then there's no definition of fit and proper, so which is really, really clear and really, really specific. So if I'm taking my 20 million US dollars to set up a mining facility, I know it's a safe investment, right? Nobody will give me any trouble in the future. Yeah? So it's actually much less about giving financial incentives and you know, giving tax exemptions and all that. Yes, of course, every businessman will take them, right? But ultimately, what is much more important for the decision is my investment safe, right? Or will regulation change in 2 years after I put in my 20 million and my mining rigs get burned down because now I'm in violation of the law, right? So I'm of course not thinking about criminals here. Yeah? I'm thinking about the honest businessman and the honest businesswoman we want to attract. Yeah? I think so. There are countries in the world where the whole business model is regulatory clarity. They have literally nothing else to offer, right? And like Estonia, Iceland, and actually become reasonably prosperous with only offering clarity and nothing else. Right, and offering clarity actually also costs very little. Yeah? So to me, again, as a businessman, high return, low investment. Yeah? So I definitely would urge Malaysia to invest in that direction. Regulatory clarity is a huge competitive advantage.
We'll come back to that, Simon. Regulatory clarity. Harpreet, just maybe give a bit of a background, because not everybody understands how mining would contribute to the prosperity of a country or a location, right? And that's probably one of the reasons why people look at mining activity as something ambiguous, except for those who know. And then some bad actors has given it the rest of us a bad name.
Okay, sure. Right. So, I mean, to understand mining and, like how, why this process is necessary, you have to understand maybe a bit about the internet as well first, right? So, like today we can use Zoom, we can use LinkedIn or Facebook or any of this application because there's some servers technologies at the back which are hosting it, right? So in a lot of cloud platforms or applications these days, they actually have this kind of technologies at the back which actually powers these applications, right? Where they host that data, they host that applications, all the incoming and outgoing of those applications goes through it, and it does it, right? And all the security mechanism of it is also stored on this particular service. So when the internet was rising, that's where the importance of all these server technologies, all these networking technologies, all these computer, like all these interconnecting devices, technologies was quite important for the industry, the internet industry. And you saw who took lead in it. We saw America took lead in it. The Western country took lead in it. We saw China in a way took lead in terms of manufacturing it early on, right? And today, all these industries or all these sectors are the areas who actually, like have those deepest R&D. They have the best, like internet equipments, the best server technologies, among the best cloud companies, among the best internet companies, as the best VCs, as the best talent, has the best universities educating this. Everything is there. What the rest of the world has, right? Because they were one of the early people to actually go up and support the internet ecosystem, right? Today, the similar thing is happening in the blockchain ecosystem, where it started from Bitcoin, it went up towards master nodes, started towards many different types of node technologies and cloud hosting solutions, decentralized storage. All of these are happening at this particular time, right? It's a new, like a kind of a wave of technology innovation happening. So people who goes up and like do Bitcoin mining, what they do is they provide an infrastructure or a service to that Bitcoin network to govern itself, to store its data, and at the same time to approve upcoming transactions in a way to verify and approve the upcoming transactions and blocks, right? So it does that. That is the function of that miner. But what it does, how it actually going to impact the overall, like ecosystem is, people who are going to mine are going to learn about crypto. They're going to learn how to trade crypto. They're going to learn how to maintain those machines. They're going to learn what's the benefit of ASICs. They're going to develop more ASICs. They're going to do R&D on ASICs, right? And then they're going to need those supplies and the components to R&D and build better ASICs to perform better and get better profitability on the ASICs and better electric, like better ways of more efficient ASICs which use less electricity, right? All of those elements just in Bitcoin mining, actually, it's already quite huge. It's happened in China where they started to do that, and now they have the best mining, like manufacturers in the world, and they kind of control the overall market right now. And it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, just Bitcoin mining. Then we talk about all the various different cryptos. They have their own, like different sectors in the world who actually owns their crypto mining, but majority of them are in China. But then we talk about master nodes and decentralized cloud storage. And in future, we're even talking about decentralized web, where you can have a whole internet which is decentralized, stored on different side of clouds, right? So the whole learning process from Bitcoin mining, right, where you learn what exactly is blockchain, how crypto works, and how to run them, to decentralized web is something that today we have with us. If this industry dies off here tomorrow, when the industry can carry forward with the next generation of blockchain, the next generation of DLTs, we won't have those expertise here. We won't have people who can run those nodes. We won't have people who can build those ground protocols. We won't have the talent to research it. We won't have the supply chains to actually assemble those technologies. And this is all is going to be missed out. And if we missed it out now, it's going to be too late for us to play a catch-up big game in the future, because most of the companies countries that are actually today supporting this ecosystem will be the pioneers and will have that ecosystem developed in their country, and they will be too far ahead. And most of us will be the consumers of those technologies and buyers of those technologies, and like in a way, just kind of repackaging them, like what we do with Microsoft and Google and everything else in the country. We're going to be doing the same thing for blockchain technologies. It's already happening in the protocol level already. We do have some protocol research that has been done from Malaysia, but a lot of it, we do not have strong protocol developers here in the country. We don't have the strong R&D. But we have global entrepreneurs who are actually building protocol solutions all out there. But they just can't do it here in Malaysia because we don't have that ecosystem. We don't have the right talent. We don't have the right support to even build that. So this is what is going to be like the whole impact flow of just blocking the mining. It's not just about the electricity or the illegal mining. It's the whole industry's backbone, if you ask me from my perspective. Because if that doesn't happen, it doesn't kind of trickle down to all these other industries that are coming forward in the next 5 to 10 years in the blockchain space. Yeah, that's my perspective.
5 to 10 years, that's not a long time away.
Yeah.
And you know, when you spoke about that process, I was thinking R&D, that's going to be another decade or something like that.
No, 1 year is very long in the crypto space. Things comes out every 3 months, right?
Yes.
So what other sectors are doing in 2 years, blockchain is doing in 3 to 4 months. New assets, new technology, new protocol, 3 to 6 months is out. So 5 years is like equivalent of 15 years in AI, or 15, I think 20 years in AI, big data, right?
So this is a real advantage. Simon, you look like you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I just wanted to build on what Harpreet said. So I think even 5 years is long, no? Because one thing, of course, in the software industry, being second means nothing. You need to be first, otherwise you're not winning, right? Because it's a winner takes it all marketplace. So I think what you said, Harpreet, is extremely important. So at the moment, you know, there is no clear winner yet. So that means you can still play, you can still push, and you can still put you know, the nation on the market. And there's still a lot of startups that can seriously compete and have a real chance of winning the game. I think what we need to focus on, and not only always asking the universities and the public sector to do so, but also ourselves, as industry leaders. I mean, really invest in education. Because the reality is, of course, a university, they can do something to a certain degree, but their curriculums, they're set up every 4 years. Blockchain moves too fast, right? I mean, my training curriculum for the courses I do with my team, it changes every 6 months, right? Because this is the cycle of speed we are in. And I think it's unrealistic of us to expect academia to run at that pace. Yeah, they're not structured for that. So I think this is where the accountability is on all of us, including the people in this panel, to do our part, to be it offering internships, maybe a bit self-promotion here. So we are currently offering an enterprise blockchain certification course together with Yaya-san in collaboration, to train up 75 young talents here in Malaysia, right? So I think we need to see more of these initiatives. Because I think unless we play our part to build the ecosystem, well, maybe we are second. Huh?
And that is not good. But, you know, mining, Bitcoin, blockchain, terrorism financing, you know, cryptocurrency is part of the dark web. And we still haven't shaken that off. Not that I agree that we are part of the dark web. But so with all these things, would Medici welcome something that enables such activities where, you know, you're mining on behalf of a potential terrorist? You don't even know, right?
Okay, Jasmine, please, if I can respond first, because you're hitting my beef, my personal absolute beef topic, because there's a tremendous amount of misinformation out there, right? So let me clarify the first thing. Blockchain is not equal to cryptocurrency. Everything, for example, ReGov and a lot of other companies do has zero to do with cryptocurrency. I'm not mining a single Bitcoin. I'm not mining anything, right? So this is a technology. You can think of it like a database. I can use a database for good. I can use it for bad. Both is possible. Doesn't make it a bad thing. Yeah, we all love databases. Without that, nothing, even Zoom doesn't work, right? So we have to look at blockchain in the very same way, right? So even if there's never a mining company again in Malaysia, I mean, let's just paint that dark scenario, right? That doesn't mean Malaysia can't invest in blockchain, right? I mean, we can invest in the technology in DLT. We can create distributed ledgers. Yeah, we can power enterprise solutions by it. We can power consumer solutions with it. I think all that is possible, and this is where the investment need to go. Yeah? So people really need to start decoupling Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies from blockchain. Yeah, cryptocurrency. I mean, basically, it's saying like if you think blockchain technology is paper, cryptocurrency is money. Me building an enterprise solution is a book, right? Me building another solution is a paper advertisement flyer, right? So let's not burn all the paper because we are not happy with money. So that's really a plea I want to get out here, so that we really start to have a more differentiated this discussion here. Sorry for the rant. But
Hey, no.
it was really
That's what this is for.
Yeah.
That's what this is for. We want the industry captains and leaders to voice what is plaguing the industry so that it is known, that the topics get spoken about and discussed, and a favorable results for all comes through, right?
Okay. Yeah, so I think just to put out why it's like the industry is still segmentized. Actually, a lot of people still think that Bitcoin and crypto is illegal here in Malaysia, right? They don't even, they don't know that actually it's legal. You can legally trade them. They are regulated taxes. There are 4 of them now. There's just one. There was one more recently been announced by SC, right? So you can actually go up and legally purchase cryptocurrencies, and they are listed. They are Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin. They've actually been listed on these exchanges. You can actually legally buy them. You can trade them. You can invest in them. And we are also hoping that in future we can even pay with them. If let's say Bank Negara comes with some regulation for Payment Act, right? So all of these operations are happening. And in terms of the AML and ATF laws, if you actually go up and read the FATF's last year's report, if you see the percentage of identified money laundering and terrorism financing that went through crypto was minuscule compared to what went to our main banks, right? Among the top banks, you name it today in the world, are the biggest money launderers in the world right now, right? So if you want to give me that equation of discussion that, okay, you're like, oh, that crypto is for money laundering, then I'll say, then in that case, I should shut down every single bank that is on the list as well, right? Why you just give them a lawsuit and and then tell them, but you want to shut down crypto, who is a small percentage out of it, right? Because that person doesn't have a voice. That person don't take you to the court, right? So there's a reason you want to shut it down. But if a bank, it can take you to the court and what they call, you have a few years legal battle towards it. Then you have to justify, did they really did money laundering or not, right? So there's a whole question about legality and everything around it as well. But if you look into crypto is a very bad, in terms of Bitcoin, let's just talk Bitcoin for simplicity's sake. It's a bad money laundering tool. Yes. Because everything is visible, right?
Yeah,
it's open.
Transparent.
If I go up and launder a few Bitcoins today, it is on the ledger. It is on the ledger forever, right? If you identify my address, you identify everywhere the money went through, which exchange, where it went through, which wallet, everything is there. But if I am somebody who's corrupt, who has millions or billions of dollars in donation money in my account today, I will never use crypto. And I think experience says that they didn't use it. There's a reason why they didn't do it, because it's a bad money laundering tool. And I think we should take that an example, and you see that, you actually can take that same elements and apply in our own currency, because today it's very easy to take out money through cash. Cash is, basically the whole underworld's, blood, or, the kind of the life soul of it. That's how a lot of the cash operates. Until there's cash, everybody can keep on doing those activities, right? And then on top of them, you have multi-layered bankings, right? Bankings that has so many layers, and all of them has to kind of aggregate their data to a financial investigator unit, and then they have to make sense the data out of it. Blockchain removes everything of that. Everything is on one ledger. Everything is being transferred on one. There's no layering. Everything is being tracked on one single system. That's where China is very excited about CBDC, because this problem is huge for them. AML is huge for them. Capital control is bad, super bad for them. That's why they saw that idea. They saw blockchain. They say, we need this. We're going to apply this, and we're going to put this onto our own CBDC. Many different countries are also looking towards that as well. But my advice will be, don't be an authoritarian kind of a CBDC. Try to be a more decentralized, open, transparent CBDC, because a CBDC can be many things. It can be a one that actually brings sufferings to the public. It also can be a CBDC that brings prosperity to the public. I rather hope that Malaysia takes the prosperity route. Okay, that's my take on it.
Likewise.
Agreed.
I like to bring up a topic, and fellow panelists, we have only 13 minutes, so please all jump in wherever. Recently, Harpreet, you touched a little bit on the fact that we have 4 DEXs, digital asset exchanges that are licensed. And they are licensed here in Malaysia. Now, how do we outlaw or ban a big exchange like Binance? And what is the effect to, let's say, I have some crypto assets, digital assets in Binance. Is that going to be a big problem for me that SC has outlawed it when before this I have been trading on it?
Okay. I think first of all, we have to put in, I think a lot of discussion is on crypto. I was hoping for more blockchain questions after this. Hope we can answer that as well.
Yes.
Yeah, but just come up towards, because today this is a hot topic right now. Everybody is, shouting on Facebook, oh, what should I do with my money? Like, what is going to happen? Should I use VPN and all of those stuff, right? So just to highlight those, that areas, I think. So one, it's very hard to enforce anything on the crypto world, right? If they could enforce it, they would have banned Bitcoin from get-go, right? It would have not been there. The crypto industry would have been banned from the get-go because you're basically kind of taking away the role of the central bank, right? You're issuing your own, in a way, you're issuing your own currencies, your own public currencies, right? So a lot of these areas would have been banned. But later on, you can see there has been acceptance and people tend to go up and try to even see how they can leverage those positions and at the same time bring that or infuse that into the India economy, because in a way that creates job opportunities, it creates a lot of positive impacts as well into the industry, right? So how will SE ban? I think most probably they will talk to MCMC and just block those websites and issue some subpoenas or something to Binance to actually come in and clarify their position or their stand on this. Or, which I feel, in my perspective, this is my personal take, I think they want to call Binance to come on the discussion table and basically get regulated, which I think Binance is trying to comply with as well. They are trying to hire multiple positions here in Malaysia to actually be in compliance, which a lot of regulators around the world did. UK did it, US did it, Canada did it, and they brought Binance to the discussion table. And there's Binance US, there's going to be Binance Canada, there's going to be Binance in many different UK jurisdictions. And Binance themselves are trying to get regulated, right? Regulated DEXs in Malaysia, yes, they already have it. They already have those guidelines. But you have to see the crypto industry actually has been earlier than the guidelines. Most of the guidelines are new. Crypto industry has been there longer. They're already used to a certain pattern, a certain types of trading behavior, a certain types of tools and applications, right? You can't come today and say, hey, remove everything. It's just telling you to like, okay, you come to internet today where you have Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and say, no, we're going to ban all of this. Let's go back to, maybe Skype and messengers and everything at the back in 1980s, right? You can't expect that from a consumer that go back so many years back in the internet usage, or you go back, remove all those applications and go back, multiple years in that progress and innovation. So in that case, I think there have to be a kind of discussion and compromise between the regulators and the innovators to come on the table to, kind of assess the risk that, what is the risk of all these products out there, which are too risky, maybe Binance can remove or the global exchanges can remove, and which are acceptable to be allowed and to be actually continued around that. Because the alternative is very different. Because if, let's say, you ban Binance tomorrow, people are going to go fully on DeFi. Today, you have minimal KYC and a person who you can reach out to and ask them about AML and ATF. When they go pure DeFi, nobody is going to talk to you, right? Everybody going to be on smart contracts and DAOs and open technology and open finance. Nobody is going to come and reply anything to you. AML, ATF will be worse there. The whole economy will go into fringes. The whole thing will be declared as like a dark web, and all the crypto guys are criminals in a way, right? So that is what kind of the perspective that will be taken, which I think it's a very weird position to have. You can't actually send the whole industry and the whole ecosystem towards the fringes. You need to come and have a compromise where you can have regulation and technology kind of coming together. Although regulation and technology don't really rhyme together, in my perspective. I think they should actually come in the same word. You need RegTech solutions. You cannot regulate technology with old policies, with old ideas, with draconian concepts, right? You cannot be telling that, hey, let's build this wall around this technology and it will behave. It doesn't do it that way. I think you need to get in that game, have innovation teams in every single regulator, build your own tech, build your own solution, don't outsource it anymore. And inside of that, build governing solutions, build regulatory solutions. And then you will be having better options on finding out what is the best solutions to regulate blockchain, what is the best solution to regulate AI, and what are the things. You will have the domain experts in-house. Today, we have a huge problem. You go and talk to regulators, they don't even understand the ABC of blockchain, and they're talking about regulation, right? And in this case, when you actually go and explain to them, this will limit this and all of those, they have everything just flew over their head, and they just say, no, 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 it's not happening. Right, that has happened multiple times and so many different discussions, and is where in a way from the industry who just want to make some profit and survive as a business, it becomes very like in a way a very troublesome thing. Like I think everybody in this discussion have faced it before. With that, I think I'll pass to the other panelists.
Ibrahim?
I couldn't agree more with Harpreet on that one. I think we need to have more discourse with the regulators. I think I always believe in collaboration, right? Whatever it is, we can't detach ourselves. I mean, as much as we want to be free and the innovators want to have their own way, eventually will come back to us. So I think Harpreet as the president of Access, and I'm as part of the Access team as well, that's part of our role, which is to make sure that we come in as a unified voice. You know, we represent the industry. Whatever issues out there, we will take a stand. I think that's very important. Somebody got to be taking that role. It's not easy, I have to say. And I think, like I said again, we need to have more discourse session with all the regulators. Yeah, because we need to get them on our side. If not, we will always be having this firefighting issues that we have to undertake as an industry. You know, so that's my input on this one.
Agreed.
Coming back to what Simon said about talent, I am very passionate about talent. So how we are doing it in our little village is we do not agree, again, like what Harpreet said, regulators are there to enable. So that's the same role we took. So as an enabler, we get the industry to lead the talent development. They know what best is required by them. So we support as much as possible in terms of encouraging them or even removing some of the costs that related to talent development. And we let them dictate what is type of talent development program that they want. In fact, we target some of these specific companies in the blockchain industry because we know there's lack of talent in there, and we kind of provide them like what Simon is doing, some sort like an incentive so that they can hire these people and train them to meet their business requirements. So based on our experience, we realized that for this kind of emerging tech, we can't wait for the academician. Like Simon mentioned earlier, they are not built for that. The infrastructure doesn't support that. So for emerging tech, there must be a separate approach to this, you know, because of the short development cycle and the fact that everything changed within 3 or 5 months. We need to have a more, I would say, hands-on approach. Yes, university can provide them the fundamentals, but when it comes to our industry, I think let the industry take control. Let the industry develop program after they finish their fundamental degree. Let that be their what they call like a finishing school kind of approach. Yeah. So, and we already have this program that, in Blockchain Village, is called Johor Digital Emerging Technology Talent Program. And I think we're going to launch this next week, which on the 11th of August. So keep in mind or stay tuned to for the launch of this fantastic talent development program. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Simon, I'd like to close with you, and I'd like for you to share, from a distributed ledger technology, a blockchain technology perspective, especially from a country. Do we have an example of a country that has, from a government point of view, enabled the flourishing of blockchain technology?
Yeah, of course. I mean, there are quite a few examples out there. I mean, I always like to point to Estonia, because it's the easy one to look at, right? So they literally got nothing in 1991. So they were exporting wheat and cheese and had a yearly capital income, per capita income of 100 euros, 500 ringgit. Now they're the 27th richest country in the world by today. The only thing they did is they invested heavily in technology. They are number one in e-government, right? Everything is automated, super easy to do business, 20% tax rate. So it's not a low tax country like a lot of the others, right? So I think this is always a good example to look at and learn from, right? Then of course, yeah, I mean, you can't take the US as a whole, but I mean, if you look at California, if you look at Dallas, there are a couple of places, that were rather progressive in supporting the crypto ecosystem, and they're reaping massive rewards out of it. Especially again in terms of per capita income. I mean, there is measurable impact. So this is not fun. I mean, this has a real impact on nations. And leading over to what Ibrahim said, again, it comes down to education, right? Because Silicon Valley attracts nobody with low cost. It's the quality of the talent that is there that is attracting people. And I think there we have an opportunity here to be the Silicon Valley of the East. I think it's totally still possible, especially if you are focused and say, hey, we focus on AI or we focus on enterprise blockchain. So we are targeted. We are not just trying to cover everything. I think there's a real strong opportunity here. And with my last seconds, a little plug. So anybody who wants to become an enterprise blockchain developer, I have a program starting September. Go to regovtech.com and let me know. If you got excited about anything you heard here, it's a 6 months training program. So if that's interesting for you, please reach out. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, just before the closing, I would like to say something about what Simon just said, right? So actually, there's a common notion that Bitcoin was the first blockchain, solution or first DLT solution for, say, Estonian government is the first DLT success case.
Yes.
They were in 2007. They built the world's first DLT sharding system, right? And what happened is that they actually, from there, they kind of build this kind of inclusive DLT system. They put in everything from the registry, the health ecosystem, the finance, everything is kind of in that one system. Even registering your company and everything is happening on a DLT, a blockchain-like system up there already in Estonia since 2007. And that kind of pushed forward the country from earning a few 100 million a year to a few billion a year. They are multi-billion-dollar economy right now because their country is so small. It's 1.3 million people, right? It's a very small country, but that expedited and allowed them to punch heavier than their actual weight right now because they are so optimized in a way to do the economy and push forward towards their using those technologies. They actually leverage a lot on it. So if we say, if we look back, before Bitcoin, governments has been adopting DLT, right? It doesn't, basically, if you take that Estonian case, actually, there's no a reason for us to not do it as well. If we just learn from that example, if Bitcoin and blockchain sounds wrong to you, Estonian and X-Road might sound right to you then, right? But it's the same thing at the back.
Agreed. Thank you so much, Harpreet. Actually, I was going to ask you to kind of close. Awesome. So there you have it. This morning, a question for you. Distributed ledger technology, blockchain technology. What are the implications when we fully adopt it, knowing what it is for our country. And I think really the sky is the limit because our populace are talented and hardworking people. And this technology is new and fast moving. So we actually have an opportunity today to enable our people to learn, which the industry is now enabling with academies coming out from ReGov, from the blockchain village in Iskandar, and even Harpreet. I know Blockline also does a lot of things in training. And Access as an association is also discussing with a lot of blockchain operators to see if they will offer their online training to our members and to, of course, Malaysia. So I believe it is definitely a major application that will help Malaysia move forward by leaps and bounds. We will leap forward. And that, as a Malaysian, would be a dream come true for me. Thank you so much, my wonderful panelists, for an exciting morning of discussion. Thank you so much for staying with us. Over back to you, Hazrul.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Yasmin.
Thank you so much to Jasmine and all the esteemed panelists, Simon, Harpreet, and Ibrahim, for that engaging panel session to kickstart our morning with blockchain insights, relating to the talents as well as the regulations for those within the industry as well as those new to blockchain. Thank you again. Right, to the attendees, okay, we will now be moving forward to our second session of the day, and it will be beginning very, very shortly. So please go on and click join session. See you later on.